Welcome to an episode of Crystal PvP, and today I'll be talking about the birth of US, because I've been talking about that. We've been talking about it in history class this week. So I figured if I record myself talking about it, I'll be able to just listen back to a recording and learn everything for my exam with doing so. Well, that guy just committed suicide. That's nice. So it all started with British colonies. There were 13 of them, and the first created was Virginia in 1606. Then the first passengers arrived, first families in Mayflower ship, and thanks to acceptance of them by Indians, they accepted them really welcoming. We celebrate Thanksgiving. British and French colonies had at first common enemies, Indians, but since they were at odds inside, they were not a real threat. So they decided to go into a war between themselves anyway, where British won British crown, and they needed a reimbursement of expenses. Oh, they also won, I have to know that, in 1763, I think. So yeah, they needed a reimbursement of expenses, so they taxed American colonies, which was not at all well accepted within colonies, because they were before duty-free zones and also without any political power within homeland politics. So yeah, that's it. Let me kill this guy now. Die. Yeah, colonies were many enlighters with Enlightenment ideas, which were focused around human happiness, and they were saying that they won't be paying taxes if they don't have any political power in homeland, in Britain. So basically that led to a movement against Stamp Act, which had a slogan, no taxation without representation. And there were also a lot of critics talking about that. One of them was Thomas Paine. He said that actually he wrote a booklet he wrote, yeah, that said that an island cannot rule the continent, in which case, in our case, America. Oh god. So all of that led to a protest in Boston against Stamp Act, where like people were throwing snowballs with stone in it at military, which returned with a barrage, and there were like 4 people killed, and yes, we still call it Boston Massacre, because for 4 people is a lot, like you can't imagine. British anger led to another contract, being Tea Act, where they would try to reduce amount of tea being held by financially troubled East British India Company, I think, and Americans weren't aboard with that all. So they committed Boston Tea Party, because they wanted to have black tea, not black tea as the black tea, but black tea because it was from the black market. They were used to getting tea a lot cheaper than now. So they committed Boston Tea Party in 1773, where they threw boxes of tea into the sea while being disguised as Indians. So British Crown was angry with that, as nobody was surprised about that. So they closed Boston Marine until they would repay the expenses of tea being destroyed. But they never did, so Americans instead made a boycott on all Britain products, which led 2 years later to a war. American forces were in shambles between the wars, so even though they had a capable leader, George Washington, he couldn't do anything with his forces, because all he had were some farmers with guns, and they didn't really know how to operate with them. So they lost. But basically, all the war did was it shattered all last bits of hope of reunition with England. And instead, what it did is it cemented the will of independence into liberators' head. So yeah, Britain kind of messed up with their intentions there. Can you please? Why am I so laggy? Come on, I hate spam crystals. Spam crystals. Why is my sword there? You didn't see anything. You can see my nice skin because it's Halloween and it rhymes. Yeah, 76 War of Independence is stroke. But this time France was financially helping America, so they won. And 4th of July 76 Declaration of Independence was signed. There were a lot of authors. One of them was Thomas Jefferson, for example. Basically what they did was based on criticizing England, they declared their liberty. So yeah, that's what they did. So basically there were 10 copies and some of them were lost. And what happened was one dude, tourist, bought facsimiles. I don't know how to pronounce that, but free kill. Easy. So he bought the facsimiles, and it turned out to be one of the 10 originals. So he basically sold few dollars of paper back to America for millions and made bank. Like he was the lucky man, I have to say. Hope that happens to me with Declaration of Independence of Minecraft servers. Yes, I hate you. Die. Huh? Leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. Yeah, that dude was lucky bee. Ooh, kit refill, easy. No, you won't kill me now. Now every deal had to go through 13 colonies, and they all had to accept something if they wanted to something to be accepted, of course. And that wasn't optimal. So they formed a government in 1787, I think. And it was divided into 3 branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. Yeah, and America now has a short constitution with there were only 27 amendments, like corrections of it, and there were few more important ones, like the 13th, end of slavery and racism, which is still a problem. So be like Kung Fu Panda: black, white, and Asian. Easy. Problem solved. And there was 22nd, that was about that no one more shall be elected to the office of president more than twice. Die. 5th president, Monroe, issued the Monroe-Duquesne, a policy of opposing European colonialism in American's hemisphere. So like countries like Bolivia and Venezuela were gaining independence, and this Duquesne prevented EU to occupy them. But actually they had forces, and America didn't have any, so they could, but they didn't. So now America rules the world. Basically the right hand of George Washington Lafayette, I don't know how to pronounce it, was then later involved in the French Revolution. So click this video if I've made it about French Revolution, and you can learn about that with me. Bye.